Hello Oscar, Grandpa and Moosey here to read to you a little bit more from the Playful Panda. Now, I hope you're having a lovely time with your little sister Annabelle and Mummy and Daddy. So it's lots of love from me, Grandpa, and from Granny, and from Moosey. You all right, Moosey? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah, he's been pretty good. And love to see those shapes you were making, Oscar, that Mummy sent pictures of. They were terrific. You're really clever. Anyway, shall we read on now from chapter 9? The search is on. The search is on because if you remember, somebody went missing. Zoe was searching for May, and May wasn't in her enclosure, was she? And that was really difficult. And they went to search. She and Meep went to search for May. So, chapter 9, the search is on. Zoe didn't think she'd ever run so fast. Clutching the medicine in one hand, she raced through the zoo, dodging and weaving past visitors. She could feel the backpack bumping against her back as she sped along, and hoped she wasn't making Chi-Chi dizzy. "Excuse me," she panted breathlessly. "Animal emergency." Her heart was thumping hard in her chest when she reached the grassy plain next to the lake, where the gazelles grazed. "Ah, Zoe," called the gazelle keeper, waving. "Your mum said you'd be bringing." "Really sorry," Zoe gasped, flinging the bottle into his hands and spinning off again. "Can't stop now." Zoe raced around the zoo, calling out to the animals. The news of the escaped cub was spreading quickly. The zebras stamped their hooves and whinnied the message to their neighbours, the alpine hares. Ooh, they sound rather exciting. The flamingos. Do you know what colour flamingos usually are, Oscar? Did you get that? I expect you did. They're pink. Often they're pink in Africa. The flamingos flapped their wings and hooted to the wolves, who howled so loudly that every animal in the zoo could hear them. I think you could howl like a wolf, can't you? I think we've practiced that before, haven't we? Ooh! Can you do that? That's pretty good. The warthogs, the warthogs snuffled around in their cool mud holes to make sure May wasn't there. The baboons checked in the bushes, and one of the crocodiles politely asked Zoe what the missing panda looked like. Zoe unzipped her backpack so Chi-Chi could peep out. "Exactly like this," she replied, holding the little cub up in the air. And look, there's Zoe. And there's Chi-Chi in her backpack, looking out. That's cute, isn't it? And with the baboons around them. See, look. So she went into the baboons' enclosure. There we go. That's brilliant. They were almost back at the panda enclosure when Meek came scampering round the corner to meet them. "Everyone's looking for May, but there's no sign of her anywhere," he chattered. "What should we do next?" Zoe bit her lip and thought. "Let's go back to the enclosure again," she suggested. "We'll look for paw prints near the hole in the fence or any other clue that might lead us to May. Chi-Chi squeaked eagerly in agreement. Zoe zipped up her backpack and they crept along to the panda enclosure. There was a grumble of voices as they arrived. The crowd was getting restless and cross. Zoe saw the reporter with the glasses check his watch and shake his head. "How long do we have to wait to see these pandas?" he complained. Suddenly a blur of deep blue feathers swooped past his head, making him jump. Kiki landed on top of the fence and fluttered her wings as Great Uncle Horace strolled down the path, crunching on a custard cream cookie. Ooh, that sounds nice, Oscar. "Good afternoon, everyone," he called cheerily, tipping his explorer's hat to the crowd. "It's wonderful that you've all come to meet our special new arrivals." Whoa. One of the reporters sighed loudly. "Well, we haven't met them yet," he moaned. "We haven't even caught a glimpse of them. I'm going home if they don't show up soon." "Oh, what a pity," Great Uncle Horace said with concern. "You really must wait and see them." Pandas are so rare, especially twins. He smiled brightly at the man. Did you know that in China they're called giant bear cats? Wow, fancy that, Oscar, being called giant bear cats. Some people also call them bamboo bears. Why do you think that would be, Oscar? Why do you think they might be called bamboo bears? That's right, because they eat lush bamboo shoots. Fascinating, said Great Uncle Horace. The crowd gathered round Great Uncle Horace as he began telling them all about pandas. Even the grumpy reporter looked interested. Zoe knew he'd only be distracted for a few minutes, though. She had to find May May and get both cubs back into their home. Fast. Quietly she tiptoed round the outside of the enclosure until she found where the hole in the fence was hidden. Chi-Chi started wriggling so much in the backpack that Zoe let her out. Together, Zoe, Meep and Chi-Chi all began looking around for any sign of May May. Then Chi-Chi squealed eagerly. "What have you found, Chi-Chi?" chirped Meep, hopping up and down. Chi-Chi lifted her paw and pointed. A wisp of white fluff was caught on the branch of a tall oak tree just outside the enclosure. With an excited squeak, Chi-Chi scampered up the tree. "Chi-Chi!" Zoe called in a loud whisper. It was just like naughty Chi-Chi to run off when they needed her. The little panda disappeared up the tree trunk and was soon invisible among the branches. Zoe sighed. Instead of finding one panda, now she'd lost two. Oh dear, Oscar. "Chi-Chi," she whispered again. Suddenly there was a suspicious voice behind her. "Just what do you think you're doing, Miss Parker?" Can you guess who that was, Oscar? Yes, it was Grumpy Mr. Pinch. So, Chapter 10, Friends Forever. There they are, look, the two panda cubs. So let's hope they find one another. Don't you think that we hope that, Oscar? Friends forever. "Mr. Pinch," Zoe stammered, feeling her cheeks flush pink. Carefully she stepped to one side so that the zoo manager couldn't see the hole in the fence. "I was just looking for the pandas." She peered into the enclosure. "I thought I might be able to see them from this side of the enclosure, but I can't." The grumpy zoo manager glared at her. "Well, I'm looking for them myself," he told her bossily. "The crowd is fed up of waiting, and I won't let those two little pests spoil the special event. They have to be around here somewhere." He peered into the enclosure and added crossly, "There are just so many of these big clumps of bamboo that they could have hidden behind." Zoe glanced up at the tree. Chi-Chi's black and white face peered out from the branches. Then next to her there was a flash of black and white, and another face appeared. There wasn't just one baby panda in the tree, but two. Chi-Chi had found May May, and there they are, up in the tree. They're so cute, aren't they, Oscar? Zoe had to hide her grin as Mr. Pinch looked at her curiously. There was another rustling sound from inside the tree, and a high, happy squeaking sound. Mr. Pinch looked around, puzzled. "Can you hear that? There's definitely a panda close by," he muttered. Zoe looked at Meep desperately. "We can't let Mr. Pinch see that the cubs are out of their enclosure," she whispered. "Can you distract him?" Meep's little face lit up. "I can be just as cheeky as Chi-Chi," he told her proudly. With a nimble leap, he sprang over to the zoo manager. It had rained that morning, and there was a muddy puddle next to him. With a gleeful chirp, Meep leapt into it, splashing mud on the zoo manager's shiny shoes. Mr. Pinch stared down at the mess in disbelief. "I polished my shoes this morning," he spluttered. "You little nuisance. I'll have to clean these before the reporters see." He shook his head crossly and pointed a finger at Zoe. "If those pesky pandas haven't appeared by the time I'm back, I'm going into the enclosure and I'll search every inch until I find them." There's Mr. Pinch and Meep splashing mud onto his shiny shoes. As Mr. Pinch stomped off along the path, Zoe turned to the tree. "Chi-Chi," she called softly, "you can come down now. He's gone." There was a cheeky giggle, and Chi-Chi slid down the tree trunk, her dark eyes bright. Then the branches shook gently again, and another face popped out of the leaves, squeaking happily. "May May," gasped Zoe, relief and happiness sweeping through her. "You were in the tree all along." "Hooray!" cried Meep, bouncing up and down. Both pandas scrambled down from the tree. Zoe laughed as they leapt into her arms and they all shared a fluffy cuddle. There we are. There's Zoe and the twin pandas, Chi-Chi and May-May, having a big cuddle. Oh, so cute. I'm so glad you're all right. What are you doing, Lucy? I'm so glad you're all right, May-May, she told the little panda. We were all so worried about you. Chi-Chi nuzzled May-May with her black nose, squealing eagerly. May-May was very brave to go exploring all by herself, Chi-Chi, Zoe agreed, smiling. And she did find the best hiding place yet from Mr. Pinch. But I think you both better stay inside your home from now on, don't you? May-May nodded. And Zoe grinned as the cubs squeaked and chatted in delight about their adventure. While they were apart, they had realised how much they missed one another. And now they were so happy to be back together, safe and sound. That's just like you and Annabelle, Oscar, being safe and sound and happy playing with one another. Suddenly Meep tugged on Zoe's sleeve with his tiny fingers. Quick, Zoe, he chirped, Mr. Pinch is back. Zoe placed the cubs carefully on the ground and they squeezed back through the hole in the fence and peeked out from behind the bamboo. The zoo manager was inside the enclosure looking out at the grumbling crowd. They must be in here somewhere, he announced, trying to sound cheerful. I've had enough of this, snapped one of the reporters. I don't believe there really are any pandas there. I think you've been making it all up. As Mr. Pinch spluttered, Meep turned to Zoe. If all those people leave without seeing the pandas, they'll be very cross, the little lemur chattered nervously. They might even tell people not to come to the rescue zoo anymore. There's something even more important to think about, Meep, Zoe replied. If Mr. Pinch doesn't see that the pandas are getting along now, he might still decide to send one of them away. Oh, that would be terrible, wouldn't it, Oscar? Remember, he said, they had to be friends by today. Zoe looked through the wire enclosure and laughed. Well, I don't think we need to worry about that anymore, Meep, she giggled happily. Side by side, Chi-Chi and May-May scampered out from behind the bamboo and padded towards the crowd. As they got closer, May-May leapt playfully onto her sister and they rolled around in a pile of leaves, giggling and squealing. Chi-Chi was proud of her brave sister. Even better, May-May was no longer too timid and frightened to try new things. In fact, May-May seemed just as bold and brave as Chi-Chi, rolling, scampering and having fun in her home more than ever before. I expect Annabelle's just as brave as you, Oscar, don't you think? And you'll teach her to do lots of things. After their big adventures, the cubs have realised how much they love each other, said Zoe. Zoe grinned as she listened to their excited squeals. They've made friends for good this time. There we are, Oscar. We'll finish that off next week, but it's so good, isn't it, that Zoe has found Chi-Chi and May-May. What a lovely end to the story today. What do you think, Moosey? Do you think that was good? I think it's really, really good, he says. Anyway, lots of love from me, Grandpa, Oscar, and from Granny, and from everybody, including Auntie Anne. I'm sure we all send our love and hope you have lots of fun. So, and love to Mummy and Daddy and Annabelle too. So, bye for now. Bye. Bye.